Hello, naturalists. Welcome to lesson 12.5. Totally random lesson today, and it is on line plots. So, I don't know about you, but it seems kind of strange. Line plots is like a graphing skill, and they sort of just threw that into this whole measurement chapter. But they put it as measurement and data. But anyway, the skill today is how can you make and interpret line plots with fractional data. So we're kind of going back in time and looking at fractions, which we did before spring break. And so they give us some data. It says the data shows us the length of the buttons in Jen's collection. For an art project, she wants to know how many buttons are longer than 1/4 of an inch. And so it says, okay, you can use the line plot. So you have all this data, and you can use the line plot to see the data in a very quick and easy form. And it's kind of like if you had a whole sheet that just had a ton of temperature data on it, and it's kind of like, well, what's the average high or what's the average low? If you just have all these numbers, it's hard for your eyes to quickly see, for that data to quickly pop out. So a line plot is just a really nice way to organize the data so that you can see it really easily. Okay, so here is our line plot down below. And the first thing you do when you're given a set of data is you're going to order it from least to greatest, and you're going to do tally marks. So that's kind of fun. So we come up here and we look, we say, okay, here's 1/4 shown one time, and you cross it out. 3/4, there's 1/3. Oh, there's another 1/4. I'm going to give that a tally. Oh, there's a 4/4, give that a tally. There's another 1/4, and then there's another 4/4. So then I kind of just check my work. Looks like I should have 1, 2, 3 1/4. I have 1 3/4, and I have 2 4/4. So I got that correct. And then it says label the fraction lengths on the number line below from the least value of the data to the greatest. So I'm going to put 1/4 here, and then I'm going to put 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. And the reason, even though there's no data for 2/4, I want to put it in so that I have proper scaling, because if this bar was divided into fourths, this is how it would look, so it's truly done to scale. I'm not going to have anything above 2/4 because there is no data with 2/4, but I still put it in. So then, of course, I have to give my line plot a title. And so this line plot is showing, let's go back up, lengths of buttons in Jen's collection. So I'm going to say lengths of buttons in Jen's collection. And it's always really important to put the units too. So it's going to be in inches so that you're staying consistent. I have 3 1/4, so I'm going to go above the 1/4 and I'm going to do 3 x's. 2/4, there are none. 3/4, I have 1, so I'm going to put 1 x, and then 4/4, there are 2, so I'm going to put 2 x's. Now another important thing is try to make your x's the same size so that your eye, it can very quickly jump out to you that, oh, there's more of the 1/4 because the x's are the tallest line. So how many buttons are longer than 1/4 of an inch? So now I can very quickly look at my line plot and say, oh, here's a 1/4. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 x's. So there's 3 buttons that are longer. How many buttons are in Jen's collection? That's the total number of x's. So 3 and 3. So we've got 6. And what is the difference in length between the longest button and the shortest button? So I'm actually, for that one, I am finding the range. So I would do 4/4 minus 1/4. And so it's 3/4 is going to be the difference there. Okay, turning the page here. So the share and show. A food critic collected data on the lengths of time customers waited for their food. Order the data from least to greatest time, make a tally table, and a line plot to show your data. This is a great time to pause my video. I'm going to very quickly go through this just because I don't want you to have to sit there when this is probably pretty easy for you. So we're just going to kind of fly through this. Time in hours, so we have, it looks like we have 1/4 of an hour, and then we have 2/4, which is 1/2 of an hour, and then we have 3/4 of an hour, and then we have 1 full hour. So 1/4, we have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to cross those off and put 3 tally marks. 1/2, we have 1, 2. I'm going to put 2 tally marks, cross those off. 3/4, we just have 1, and then we have 1 for 1 whole hour. Okay, and then we go ahead and put our numbers in order to the line plot. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1 whole. And then it's going to be time, customers, if I can spell it correctly, waited for food. And then of course I put my X's above, so I have 3 here. Remember, making those X's the same size. I've got 2 here, I've got 1 here, and 1 here. So when you compare yours to mine, yours should look like this. So on how many customers did the food critic collect data? So I count up the total number of X's. So we've got 3, 5, 6, 7. What is the difference between the longest time and the shortest time the customers waited? It'd be 1 whole, which is 4/4 minus 1/4. And we remember our fractions, adding and subtracting fractions, since we have a similar denominator, we can simply just subtract the numerator and the denominator stays the same. So 3/4 of an hour. Same thing here. You can pause the video and then look, or maybe you've already paused the video. Now you're just waiting to make sure you got it done correctly. So first thing we need to do is kind of look at the data and see, okay, they're doing it in sixths, and we're going to do a sixth at a time. So 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and it should be, they didn't give us enough, it should be 6/6, or they just didn't give us one for one that's missing. So they didn't give us one for 4/6, so I can make this 5 and I can make this 6. Now when we put it here, we do need to put in 4/6, even though they better have given us a liner. That's not good. 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. They just didn't give us a spot on the chart. Okay, so 1/6 looks like we have just 1. 2/6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Give myself 3 tally marks. 3/6, there's 2, 1, 2. 5/6, there's 1, and 6/6, there's 1. And then sometimes I just double check myself, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points, and there's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I just double check. It's a good habit to get into. Here's the title, so then I just put that title down here. Ribbon length, I think you guys get the point. And then the fun part, line plots are actually pretty fun. Then I get to put in my X's. So there's 2 here, none for 4/4, 1 for 5/6, and 1 for 6/6. What is the difference in length between the longest ribbon and the shortest? Again, that would be 6/6 minus 1/6. And doing those fractions, the answer is 5/6. So, and then usually they'll ask you other questions like, what length of ribbons does she have the most of? And then you look quickly and you say, oh, 2/6, because I have the most X's. You'd say, what pieces of ribbon does she have that are similar lengths? So you say, oh, there's a 1 here, a 1 here, and a 1 here. So you'd say 1/6, 5/6, and 6/6, or something like that. So usually they'll ask you questions where you can quickly look at the line plot and do it. This is kind of a fun one. If you wanted to print out the PDF on this one, it's kind of fun because then you actually get to make a line plot with your hand instead of on Think Central where you just do it. But anyway, it's up to you if you are feeling up to it, or you can create your own line plot. That would be kind of fun if you come up with a word story, kind of like any one of these 3. Come up with your own word story and then make your own chart and line plot. That would be kind of fun. So your home learning is going to be 12.5. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.